I don't know of a single serious person that was a Bernie supporter that went and endorsed a Republican. Not one. And yet it happens time and time and time again on the other way, where centrist Democrats endorse Republicans. Have I not been explaining this for years, that Roe v. Wade and Griswold v. Connecticut and Lawrence v. Texas and Obergefell and many other important cases rely on this constitutional right to privacy? I've been talking about it for a long time. And so if you just think this is abortion rights, you're wrong. The other thing that I Chad, I need to put together a tweet thread. Because there's a reason why I hate centrists in the Democratic Party, and it has to do with a personal experience. And a lot of people, like, I know firsthand that the Democratic Party despises progressives, right? Like it's not like they would rather progressives lose to Republicans. So like, a lot of times people come to me and they're like, well, Mike, you got to support the Democrats because the Republicans could win. And what's wild to me, what's really wild to me is that I've seen it happen a number of times where they have literally happy birthday, congratulations on 30. Thanks, bud. Literally have defeated progressives by endorsing Republicans. And I saw it firsthand in a race that I helped in Pennsylvania. And I'll tell the story now. And I need to put together a tweet thread with sources so you understand what I'm talking about. But basically, there was a progressive guy running for the Pennsylvania State Senate in a seat that Obama and Hillary won, but held by a Republican. It was 2018. Now, you would think that would be a number one top targeted race, right? Like, if you're going to try to win seats, you want to win seats. You want to go for seats where Hillary won and Obama won. Like, why wouldn't you, right? Like, clearly there's more Democrats in that district than there are Republicans. And then it was 2018, so there was that huge backlash to the Trump victory. A bunch of people came out and wanted to vote for the Democrats, right? So obviously this is the seat. This is a great seat to target, right? And that was my personal reason. I helped recruit a candidate for the seat and organized a bunch of progressive people. And he was unabashedly progressive because it was a left-wing seat full of left-leaning people. Why wouldn't you run a progressive in such a seat? And the centrist Democrats didn't even put up a candidate, okay? So their plan was to give the Republican a pass. Their plan was to not even challenge the Republican. You heard that again. And a seat that Obama and Hillary won in 2018, the Democratic Party was going to give the Republican a pass. So it's not like there was some sort of like deeply contested Democratic primary here. Where there was bad blood. They didn't want to run against him. So anyway, I and a few other activists, we got this candidate to run. And the guy was a good guy. You know, he was a veteran. He was a small business owner. But he was very progressive, you know? Not a socialist. Not a wild-eyed, crazy Mike from PA, Democratic socialist. But a guy who was in support of Medicare for all, who supported a $15 minimum wage, whose family had been clinic escorts and donors for Planned Parenthood for 15 years. So this guy had a squeaky clean, suburban life, married, everything in ducks in a row, okay? Nothing wrong with this guy. Great candidate. Already elected official, local elected official. Why wouldn't you want this guy? Like, he was, like, what? You know? What? So I naively supported this guy. And this is where I got my black pill, is the Democrats behind the scenes did everything in their power to defeat him. And even though they did that, it didn't matter. We were still getting overwhelming support. It looked like we were going to unseat this Republican member of leadership in this race. We had all of the momentum, hundreds of volunteers, raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. This campaign was incredible. We were going to do it. And yet, every step of the way, the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party's campaign's arms tried to defeat us. They went to the AFL-CIO and said that he was too far left and that they shouldn't support him. They went to Planned Parenthood. Now, let me get this. Now, I want you to understand something, Chad. This is the black pill that you're going to be that you need to be prepared for. The Republican was the co-sponsor of the Pennsylvania abortion ban. the co-sponsor of the Pennsylvania abortion ban law. And my candidate was a 15-year clinic escort and donor to Planned Parenthood. You couldn't be more pro-abortion rights. It's not possible. And Planned Parenthood remained neutral in the race. Again, this is an Obama-Hillary seat with about as strong of a pro-choice candidate as you could be against a Republican who co-sponsored the abortion ban in Pennsylvania. So when I saw that, I was shocked. I knew about the dirty tricks. And this guy had nothing wrong with him. It wasn't like he was incompetent. He wasn't a crank. He didn't have like super radical opinions or anything. He wasn't going around doing anything bad. He had a good campaign. He had volunteers. He was a local elected official, a Democrat, and yet Planned Parenthood wouldn't endorse him. AFL-CIO remained neutral. Again, the Republican was one of the main authors of the voucher bill for public schools, attacking the teachers union. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that it was real. Then, and this is all bad, but you know what? Maybe you can make excuses for it. Like, hey, maybe the AFL-CIO and Planned Parenthood just thought he didn't have a shot, and they were trying to, hey, it's a powerful incumbent. You don't want to piss them off more than you have to. You want to pick your spots, right? Fine. I'll even give you that. But it wasn't just that. Then, 2 weeks before the election, the Republican sends out a massive ad blitz, television, radio, direct mailers, accusing the progressive candidate of not paying their taxes. It was totally made up. It was a complete lie. Completely made up, totally made up. In fact, they had some document they said they got from the state of Pennsylvania. Again, there was a Democrat in governor's mansion. And the Secretary of Revenue had to personally call and apologize to my candidate that the document was fraudulent. And I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? And did the Democrats come to his aid and spend money to help protect him? No, they didn't. They said, spend your own money. Then we had 2 weeks prior to that, we had gotten a poll showing that it was a neck and neck race. Within a point, we had the lead. They leaked our internal poll to the Republican. They took the internal poll information and gave it to the Republicans. That was pretty bad. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. So let's keep this in mind. Co-sponsor of Pennsylvania abortion ban, co-author of the Pennsylvania school voucher program. Also, I didn't even mention this. He was one of the main opponents to extending the statute of limitations for child molestation victims so that they could sue their accusers when they were adults. Say you got molested at 12, the statute of limitations was 10 years, and you came forward at 25, you wouldn't be able to sue your molester. He was one of the main opponents to extending the statute of limitations for child sex abuse. So anyway, I thought it couldn't get worse. It did. The former chair of the Democratic Party endorsed the Republican 1 week before the election. A former Democratic representative from the biggest city that he was running in endorsed the Republican. And they sent direct mail to all of the voters. Now, obviously, this can't be real. Mike must be making this up, but no, it was real. And here's the thing. After all of that, after every single dirty trick, abandoning the candidate, trying to give the Republican a pass, backstabbing this Democratic elected official as hard as they could, they personally put their faces on it. My best stream on Twitch. And then what happened? What ended up happening? I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. Here, I might as well just show it. And here was the race. Here was the result. 51.4 to 48.6. Even after all of that, and by the way, he outspent him by, I think, $1 million. I think we'd have to go and look at about the spending, see if we can find it. Campaign finance 2018, $1.9 million. $1.9 million for a state Senate race. That was... So if abortion gets banned in Pennsylvania, this will be one of the most important races that you've never heard of. Happy birthday. After all of that. And by the way, there was a previous Democrat who had run in 2014, Walter Felton, who was the Lehigh County Democratic Party chair, one of the most machine Democrats, centrist Democrats you'll ever seen, former cop. He lost 37.6 to 62.4. That was the previous challenge. Then there was this race. Now, if you lose a race by less than 5 points, it's largely considered to be it's considered to be a tight election. And this is exactly, so what do we have here? This is, 3 points, 51 to 49, 2 points. That race taught me everything I needed to know about the Democratic Party. If you're a progressive, even if you're not some sort of socialist radical, and you're interfering with the corrupt system, for example, in Pennsylvania, there's unlimited campaign contributions. So this guy right here got $63,000 from one donor and $57,000 from another, $51,000 from another. This is for the state Senate, $1.9 million. This is more than some congressional candidates get. So I learned first. So if you're coming to me going, Mike, why don't you love centrist Democrats? Why would you vote for them? Because when the shoe's on the other foot, they do everything they can to defeat the progressive. Now, I regret to inform you that this is not unusual. It happens all the time. This was my personal experience with it. Okay. This was me on the ground, yelling and screaming and couldn't believe it was real, and realizing that every single institution that I had any faith in was fully corrupted. And when you saw that, it wouldn't surprise you that it happens all the time. Here it is, this is in Omaha, Nebraska. Ashford crosses party lines endorsing former rival Don Bacon. Former Rep Brad Ashford, who lost his seat in Congress after one term to Republican Don Bacon in 2016, is now throwing his support to the incumbent and amid debates with challenger Kara Eastman. Ashford restated his support for the incumbent in a tweet Thursday morning, following up the endorsement he sent out Wednesday night, calling Bacon and former Vice President Joe Biden the best choice to break the shackles of divisive partisanship and find partisan solutions. Bipartisan, I guess what he meant. Ashford commended Bacon's bipartisan record to his endorsement, citing the congressman's support of the DREAM Act and continuing efforts to work across the aisle on COVID-19 aid and health care. This was the Democrat. Former Democrat loses to this guy, and then when there is a top progressive campaign in Omaha, Nebraska, and it was a tight one, this was one of the top races, crosses the party lines to endorse the Republican. If you think Don Bacon is some sort of moderate Republican, I got a bridge to sell you. By the way, I was aware, I tried to bring this up when I once debated Vaush, and I would try to explain to him how much I cared about Omaha because of this specific race. And he was like, why do you care about Omaha? This is what it looks like when you know what you're talking about. This is an important race to know about because it was the centrist Dems stabbing a progressive in the back in a winnable seat. This is not the only time it's happened. I'll show you another one. Bob Wallace, who was running in the 1st Congressional District in Pennsylvania, grandson of FDR's vice president, was stabbed in the back by the Democratic Party because he was too anti-war. They refused to get behind him. Same shit happened. Scott Wallace, 48.7. Brian Fitzpatrick, 51.3. FDR's grandson, supporter of anti-war movements all over the country, ran for Congress in one of the swingiest districts in Pennsylvania, and the Democratic Party did everything they can to sabotage him. And it happens time and time, and these are just 3 examples that I know of personally, was involved in. But this is what these people do. So if anyone tells you, oh, wait, you should blame Bernie bros. I don't know of a single serious person that was a Bernie supporter that went and endorsed a Republican. Not one. And yet it happens time and time and time again on the other way, where centrist Democrats endorse Republicans. Not some fucking third party independent candidate, not refusing to vote. They endorse openly the Republican and throw their weight behind them just to help sabotage. That is the situation that we're in. And it's time we return the favor. I will never support a centrist Democrat ever again. Ever. Because that's just the opposite has happened too many times to me. I'm not going to be a dupe who goes, well, when we win the primary, you support us. And when you win the primary, we support the Republican. We're not doing that game. And it's happening. And there's another example, which I wanted to, as a final exclamation point, there's one Democrat who's anti-choice. There's one Democrat who is anti-choice, and his name is Henry Cuellar. He's in a safe Democratic-leaning district. He was called Trump's favorite Democrat. And he's being challenged by a Bernie Sanders supporting progressive by the name of Jessica Cisneros. Henry Cuellar is anti-choice. He's the most pro-corporate Democrat in Congress. And he was, by the way, just raided by the FBI for corruption. And Nancy Pelosi has come out and endorsed him against a pro-choice progressive young woman who almost beat Henry Cuellar last time. So this is not some sort of pie in the sky candidacy. This is someone who barely won in 2018. Barely won in 2018. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. Or excuse me, 2020, not 2018. 2020. 2018, she didn't run. Let me pull up 2020. He beat her in the 2020 primary election, 51.8 to 48.2. Very similar story. Cuellar is also referred to Trump's favorite Democrat because he voted with Trump 69% of the time. Top upvoted post on Thread is Daily Beast article blaming Jill Stein. Absolute brain deadery. Supreme Court appointments are for life, so there's only one reasonable approach here. Absolutely, I agree. Court packing. Putting away rifle. Yep, that's what I was thinking. The thing you said. So I just wanted to show you all that because those examples are what you need to hold in your head. And you realize that supporting Bernard Sanders was the right decision. Hillary Clinton got what she wanted. She won the primary. She faced Donald Trump, which is the candidate she wanted to face, and she lost. Where I come from, you blame the candidate, not the voters. You have an obligation to like, comment, and subscribe.